Is everybody okay with that? Okay, thanks, Megan. Okay. And if you came in a little bit later, if you can add your email address in the chat box. Oh, hi. Hi. Okay. So there may be people that come in after, and that's fine. We'll just pick up, wherever they come in at, and that's fine. Okay. So what you have here is virtual etiquette. And as I told you before, it's going to be recorded. And the purpose of this is for us to talk about professional versus casual etiquette. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, this is going to be interactive. Does everybody here have Facebook and Instagram? Anybody?
Yes.
Hi, Kristen. Okay, Facebook, Instagram. What about you, Brooke?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Molly? You can do the thumbs up. That's fine. So the difference is that I don't know if anybody here has ever done Facebook Live or Instagram Live, FaceTime. I'm sure we all have done that, correct? Yeah. Okay. So there's a difference, of course, when we're talking to our friends and thanks, Kristen, for the thumbs up. When we're talking to our friends or versus somebody we're talking to regarding a job. And so the big difference in that is, of course, our language, tone, eye contact, movement. And so we have to be conscious of that. And it's really hard if we spend a lot of time on social media or if we're doing a lot of conversations with our friends via text. It's hard to get out of that mode, especially with this abrupt change from being on campus, having a traditional interview versus us having everything virtual. It's a big shift so fast. And so it's very easy for us to get out of, very hard for us to get out of that mode. Okay. And so what we are encouraging in that things that I have done myself is to prepare a practice video. Anybody ever done that before? Practice video? No, because it's different how you see yourself on screen versus how you how you think it's going. So when we go to an interview, I'm Molly's friend. When we go to an interview, we assume that we're doing that we can possibly do. We don't get a chance to record our interviews in person. However, with us doing virtual, with us doing Zoom, we have that option. I can go ahead and record myself and prepare for my upcoming conversation, be it a career fair or an interview or a potential recruiter. Okay. And so we'll go over some of the things that you want to put into that practice video. So we have some general tips. First thing you want to do is when you first log on is you want to ask if you can be heard correctly. Make sure that there's no issues with the internet connection, the volume. And so I don't know how you guys have been experiencing it, but I've done a lot of conversations and presentations, and in our department, there's 13 of us. So when 13 people are online at the same time, people glitch out, they have to log out, they have to go back in. It can be very frustrating. But when you first log in, you want to make sure that you did everything you could to make sure you're clear. You don't want to start talking, giving them that big spiel, and they couldn't hear you, okay? You want to make sure that you're using any slang or abbreviation. I use emojis a lot. I use abbreviations a lot. And so it's hard to get out of that mode. And you have to make yourself aware of that, even if that means making yourself a note and putting it to the side, spell this out kind of a thing. Don't slouch or use your hand gestures. So if I'm talking to a friend right now, you see me sitting on the couch. I have been known to lay back and, fold my legs Indian style. But if I'm having a professional conversation, because you guys are professional, if I'm having a professional conversation, I need to sit up, so that you guys know that this is an important conversation and that I'm interested. You want to keep your eyes on the camera. Now, this is very difficult. This is a huge challenge for me, especially when there's several people in the room, is that I want to see your face, Kristen. I want to see your face, Brooke. I want to see your face, Molly. I want to be able to see who I'm talking to. Sometimes I want to be able to see myself. But it's really important to try to stay at this camera. That's what the other person is doing. So when we think about it, we are assuming that the employer wants to use the camera feature. So what will they see in the background? So right now, I think I talked to Brooke before, and she's like, I'm in my room. I talked to somebody else, and they were in their room, and they had 2 dogs. And they were like, I'm sorry, they're gonna bark, and that's what it is. We are all displaced from where we normally would be conducting business. And so we have to be mindful of that. Myself, I have 2 teenagers. And so right now I'm presenting to you guys from my living room. I had to tell them to go outside because otherwise it would be a back and forth. It's no way that I can control them and still talk to you guys without it being distracting. And so we have to be mindful of what our environment is. A lot of us are in shared living spaces, right? We either have roommates, we went back to be at home with our parents, we have younger sisters, brothers, we may have children, whatever the case is. Sometimes there's other people in our space and we can't control that. So we have to do as best as we can to find a place that we can engage in a conversation with as minimal distraction as possible. You also want to be mindful of the lighting. So to the left of me, I have my window with the plant. And I like that, but at certain times of the day, the sun is so bright that it blinds me. Or in certain parts of my living room, it's really dark. Right now, I'm trying to sit in a space where you guys would be able to see me without it being restricted. These are things that you have to be mindful of. And one of the ways to be mindful of that is when you do a recording, so you can see where the lighting is coming from. Has anybody ever tried to do the backgrounds? Right. So some of the backgrounds are really cool. Some people have a good setup where it does look like they're on the beach. It does look like they're, at the San Francisco Bridge, they're in space. And other people like myself, because the lighting wasn't good, it looks like I'm half there and half not. And so these are things that we want to try out in our practice videos, because we don't want to come in saying, okay, I'm going to create this environment. You get there and it doesn't work out. Okay, so in a video, we're thinking about the clothes that we will wear to do an interview. So can I get somebody to tell me, what would you normally wear to an interview? Hi, Victoria. Hi, Grace. What would you normally wear to an interview?
My usual go-to is like a sweater, a colored sweater, because I'm really pale. And then I usually wear not like fun pants, but like either like black plain pants or like depending on the sweater, maybe like a checkered or a printed pants that still look professional.
Okay. What kind of shoes are you wearing?
I have like these loafers. They're like white loafers, like a neutral color, so that they can match anything. Or like the slide-on shoes. That's what I might wear.
So how are you normally keeping your hair? You wear it down? You wear it up?
I usually wear it down.
Down? Okay. Does anybody ever wreck their brain about what they're going to wear to an interview? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kristen?
I just remember my shoes a lot.
Okay. All right. What about you, Grace, Victoria?
I usually like something similar to what Brooke said.
Okay.
Like I wear like a dress shirt and like plain pants and like I have like these like low heels I'll wear or like just flats. Yeah,
Okay.
but I usually like I don't worry about like fashion. It's
Right.
probably like flat or something.
We're thinking about how we look in our pants. We're thinking about our shoes. Is our shirt fitting right? Where's my hair? We're thinking about all of those things we're in person. A lot of times when we're in front of the computer, there's more of a relaxed feel to it. And Molly, what we were just talking about, sorry, is that we were just talking about different variations of what we wear when we go on a job interview. Person, kind of that thought process, does this shirt match these pants, kind of a thing. But when we're at home or we're someplace where we're doing an interview, we're thinking, oh, they can't see what I have on. They can from the waist up. And so we want to put our best foot forward. A lot of times with working from home, I wear a sweater, I wear a shirt, unless it's a professional type of conversation. Because that's what we feel comfortable wearing at home, right? Everybody have on right now, shirt, hoodie, sweatshirt, you're right? Because I want to be comfortable. From the waist down, I may have on jogging pants, that fuzzy fleece pajama pants, right? Very comfortable. So from the waist down, no. But from the waist up, they tell me nothing. So we have to think about that is when I'm in an interview, as we see here, is that the colors that I would normally wear in person are fine, but the colors that I wear on matters. So if I wear a dark shirt and I'm sitting in a dark background, the only thing you're seeing is my face, and it's like, well, where the rest is she? And so we give the appearance of professional wear as much as possible. So if I'm going to wear a collared shirt, maybe put on a blazer or some type of duster that is of a brighter color, something that makes me appear there and as well as professional. Okay. You know, very frank here, sometimes depending on the type of shirts that you wear, it may not be low cut in person. But if I have on a shirt that kind of hangs down a little bit, and we're females, right? That's the only one in here right now, females. If we lean in, it may come out a little bit that's unprofessional. So we have to be conscious of those things. And this is another reason why doing a practice video is that you see how am I sitting? How is my shirt riding? Things that you're not able to see when you're in person. That's one of the benefits of doing a virtual interview, is because these are things that are going to help you to be conscientious the next time you're in person. You're like, oh, okay. All right. And so when we get to the technology preparation, before you go into an interview, I don't know about you, I've been on a lot of interviews before, but sometimes you'll get to a place and you'll say, oh, I thought the interview was at 9 and it was really at 8:30. Or I thought the interview was at 10 and it was at 9:30. I don't know what building is in. I don't know who I'm speaking to, right? So when we're talking about technology, we really need to be clear as to who we're talking to. A lot of the conversations that you have virtually may have somebody else on the line, but there may be one person that you're talking to. You need to know who that is. So these are the questions that you want to ask prior to the interview. You want to make sure that you install the software that you need. This may have been a challenge for all of us, or a lot of us, when we switch to this virtual platform, because we may not have been using Zoom on a regular. We may not have been used to using our laptop. We may have been using our cell phone. We may have been using a lot of other things that wouldn't allow us to participate in an online career fair or in a professional environment like such, like using the Zoom platform. And so we not only need to download it, but we need to test it. Those are another thing that you want to do in your practice video. So with the career fair platform, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Did anyone participate in the virtual career fair yesterday? You did. How did it go, Victoria?
It went well.
Okay.
I was able to talk to a few recruiters in the private chat room. One thing that was surprising is in all the virtual career fairs I've been to, never once have they ever wanted video screen or to video chat, and they actually asked not to.
Wow. Okay.
So that was something that like you kind of like prepped for. Like I picked out like the top up outfit and I didn't need it.
That's okay. At least you're ready for it next time, right? So when you logged into the career fair, what was the process? How did it have you break out into different rooms? When you first log in, what does it tell you?
Yeah, so when I first got there, it was like the lobby, and
Okay.
then you have the option to scroll or search to different booths, and then you click on their virtual booth, and sometimes they have like documents uploaded or videos you can watch in their booth, and then you click into the chat option, and then that's where like the recruiters are scanning the chat to answer questions. You can save the documents to your briefcase too, which is kind of nice. And then you can like email those all to you at the end of the day.
Well, that's pretty cool. So if you didn't attend yesterday, have you guys ever attended a virtual career fair anywhere else? Anybody? No? Okay. So I appreciate that insight, Victoria, because I honestly had never participated in a virtual career fair. I heard about the platform and it works, but I'd never been to one. So that's helpful to let me know. So if you see here that using a laptop, tablet to prevent the shaky camera syndrome, right? So sometimes have you been able to, you went to go record something and it was moving around, as you had it on a stand, it would have sat still, or you had it, like a selfie stick or something like that, it would have sat still. So we have that benefit when we're using the laptop or we're using a desktop. That is what we need to use as much as possible, because we want it to feel like a regular conversation. If I'm in an office doing an interview, a traditional interview, I'm not moving around, right? I'm sitting in a chair. The employer, the recruiter is sitting across from me. They are accustomed that I'm going to sit still, and so we want the camera to feel that way as well. Okay, as far as your resume, as you were talking, Victoria, is that it had the briefcase. You won't have that option when you go to do a traditional Zoom type of interview or conversation, professional conversation. And so it's recommended that you save your resume, cover letters, if there's a portfolio that's needed, any other documentation that may be requested or needed, save it to your desktop, wherever you are, your tablet, and have it ready. So if they say, well, could you send that over to us? Not a problem. But I'm a tangible person, so I would also encourage you to have a hard copy. And so the reason why is that if I'm toggling in between the screens, that may mess up the where I'm at. It may get me off rhythm as to what I'm talking about. There may be some type of technical error. It allows you to minimize the errors, if as much as possible. Sometimes things happen. We had a coworker today, and we were on live doing a meeting similar to this, and while talking to us, the cable company cut his electricity right in the middle of the conversation. That was something he couldn't avoid, right? So as prepared as he was, he couldn't avoid that. So that's why I say have a hard copy if you can. It's also helpful to have a hard copy of things to ask, so questions to ask. I don't know about you guys, if you've ever been in an interview, the employer asks you a question, you kind of have that moment, that freeze, like, but if you have a question sitting next to you, it makes it easier for you to respond. So at this point, do we have any questions? No? Okay. Let me ask you this. Does anybody have a interview or a conversation with a recruiter coming up? Any other career fairs that you're interested in going to? You do Victoria. Okay, so where else? Where do you have to do it? Where will you be going?
Yeah, so from the Big Ten Career Fair, I talked to somebody that was like, hey, cool, let's continue this conversation by phone appointment. So she sent me a link to sign up for like a phone interview for next week, which is different because it's still not like video chat, but it's still a virtual form that you have to be mindful of a different set of things.
Okay.
How do you present when you don't have visuals or body language and come across?
That's a really, really good skill to learn because, as I stated before, I move my hands a lot, you know, and I do feed off of other people. So not being able to see somebody, I don't know if you've ever been in a conversation and somebody has been stoic face. You're like, man, do they like me? Do they not? Was it funny? Was it somebody said? You know, and you don't have that feedback. You're not able to know what's happening. And so you have to think of this sometimes when you're doing that virtual without the visual part, Victoria, you have to be able to still stay cool, stay calm, and stay professional. And as I stated earlier in the video, is that you may do a virtual interview and that employer may want to keep their camera off, but they want your camera on. Okay, that's equally as challenging. And so these are the things that we want to be mindful of. I would encourage you, again, I can't say it enough, is to do a practice video, maybe have a friend do it like a practice interview, that person being on the other side asking you questions, just so you can gauge what it looks like, what it feels like before you go into action, as I call it. Okay, so what's really nice that we have on our website is it's called Career Fair Strategies. So a lot of what we talked about here today is going to be at a glance for you. And this is where you'd be able to, you'd be able to go down and see all the things that you need to know, things to do before the event, gathering information, the day of the event. So all the good tools and tips that you need, they're right here for you, which is awesome. The other part that I wanted to show you is our quick chat. And so quick chat is awesome. And the reason quick chat is awesome is because let's say you leave today's session and you get a call about an interview, or you get an email about an interview and you're like, oh man, what was Barbara talking about? Right? So you can go down and you can go to quick chat. And if you click on that link, it takes you to, you'll have to download the app. It's very simple, it's free. But what happens is that these are our quick chat hours. So we have them on every single day. You can log in, it'll be one of the career coaches, and we can answer a quick question for you. It'll say, okay, I want to be able to check my resume, or I have this question, or where can I look here? Somebody told me this, I just need clarity. These are some places where you can go and get a quick question. You know, you don't have to make an appointment or anything like that. Very casual, it's available to you. So this is something that I wanted to bring to your attention so that you'd be able to use it moving forward. Okay, and so here, that was the, we're on Zoom right now. I just told you about quick chat. This is VMOC. Has anybody ever heard of the VMOC? Okay. So what VMOC is, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. What VMOC is a resume tool. And so what you can do is that on this link, what you would do is take your resume and you would feed it and you would just email it to them. And it's a system and it's going to score your resume. It's going to tell you maybe you have some repeated words, change the sentence structure. These are the things that, you know, maybe employers are looking for. A lot of companies have moved to a electronic type of weeding out system for their resumes. And so if your resume has too much happening, too many graphics, too wordy, it's going to get kicked out. Not because they don't like you, it's just that's their way of weeding things out. And so this is a good place to put your resume, check it out. If it doesn't look good, make some changes, send it back. You can send it in as many times as you want. It's a free service to you. because you're affiliated with OSU. Over here is where we have the career coaching. I'm a career coach. We have 3 other career coaches in our office, and it's based on whatever career community that you want to go into. And you can make an appointment and we can go over things individually. So now, I appreciate you guys being here, but you may have some more questions that are tailored to your situation. We can go over that directly by just making an appointment here on Handshake. And I'm moving this around because I have the pictures in the middle, okay? Here are some other tips. And so these tips are really nice to prepare you for the questions of an interview. So let's say I did everything I was supposed to do. Barb said, make me a practice video, pick out my clothes. I made sure all this software was good. I have my resume. I have everything that I'm supposed to do. I got me a quiet location. Everything is going great. And I get into that interview and that employer asks me a question and it stumps me. And it says, tell me one of your strengths and tell me one of your weaknesses. And you're like, yeah, do I want to tell you how bad I am? Do I want to tell you how good I am? So what this is it has a whole lot of tips as to tips for your resumes, tips for potential employer questions. It has tips for every single thing. And so this is a really good resource that you'll be able to use well beyond the virtual interviewing platform. You'll be able to use it for anytime you need to put together a resume or cover letter or work on your interviewing skills. Interviewing is not a one-time deal. It's going to keep happening and keep happening. And so the more you prepare, the better you get. And there's no such thing as being over-prepared. I still get stumped by your weakness question. So it can be a doozy. Now I want to go back really quickly over here to where it says Ohio means jobs. Has anybody heard of this? I know there's been a lot of talk of this on the news and maybe even on the communication from campus. Ohio means jobs. Has anybody ever gone to that site?
Yes, and I find it very useful because you can easily do virtual interview questions on Ohio means jobs, and you can play it back.
Yes. So what's really nice on Ohio Means Jobs is that I checked it out. There are so many resources on there. I know that you have been given 1,000 tools and tips about going to Handshake and LinkedIn and going to Indeed. Ohio Means Jobs has another set of jobs, and you can search by career choice. They have some trainings on there. They have some assessments on there to kind of see where you are, maybe what kind of path you want to go into. So it's a lot of resources that are on there that maybe you pick up something, you say, I want to know a little bit more about this. You can schedule an appointment with a career coach and we can go over it. But it's just another resource that's really good for you, whether you are a current student graduating, recently graduated. It's a good resource for you. And if you need some help kind of maneuvering it, no problem. That's something that the career coaches would be more than happy to go over with you. Okay. So what I want to know from you guys is what interested you in coming to learn about virtual etiquette? This is what I want to know. All right, I'm gonna call on people.
For me, I actually had to do an interview like a month ago over Zoom, and it was my first time using Zoom anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it would just be good to know if this is kind of what the future is going to be like. I'd like to get a virtual internship this summer, so I felt like that would be helpful to know. Plus, because I'm pretty inexperienced with interviews to begin with, so.
Well, I think you did good with me when we talked last week. Brought up a couple of good points. So before the COVID-19 situation where we all had to go remote, a lot of companies were moving towards a virtual platform. And the reason they were doing that is if I have a job position that's open in California, you're located in Columbus, I want to interview you for a potential internship over the summer. I'm not paying for you to get here. And that would be to ask a college student to pay to come to California just for a resume, not knowing if you're going to get the job. So a lot of companies were already moving towards a virtual, phone or video type of interview. And so this is something that was already happening. It's just that now it's like, you don't have a choice. It's like, well, I would prefer to come in person. We don't have a choice. This is all that we have. And so after we return to campus and as things start to return to normal, or whatever that is, this is going to continue to be available. It's probably going to continue to be the choice employers want. I think it saves people time. It saves people money as far as traveling. And then I think that they get another aspect of you. They get another perspective of you of how you do on camera. This also gives you an opportunity. It opens the doors for other internship options or employment options because you can do it remotely. So you could potentially get a job in Washington and you're able to do it remotely here. That doesn't, oh man, I can't get to Washington or I can't get to this state. It doesn't knock you out. We now know that we can do so much more virtually, whereas this may have seemed a little like, yeah, that's not going to happen earlier this year. So there's a lot of, benefits that have come out of this whole process, and it does not hurt to learn. It even is nice when you guys are sitting in this format right here, when you're with other peers, right? It's nice to hear how other people are responding, how they're looking, how you're looking when you're talking, kind of a thing, how we're feeding off of each other. It's a good experience. I encourage you guys to continue there's other events the rest of this week. I encourage you guys to continue to engage in those, because the more we do it, as with anything, the better we get at it. This is something that, as a career coach, if you say, okay, Barb, I got this interview, let's do a mock virtual interview, I'm all about it, okay? Whatever way you want to be, if you make a mistake, it's no harm, no harm, okay? And so don't do what Barbara does and move the hands. We want to try to keep your hands, fold those hands at the bottom, try to stay as professional as possible, okay? Right. Wow, what else? Okay, Grace, what about you today?
I just thought it'd be like a valuable skill to have, since like you're saying, like a lot of companies are moving towards more online interviews, and I'm just like not unfamiliar with how you should like hold yourself, because I've like had a couple meetings on Zoom, but they just been with like other students and not like as professional and everything.
Exactly. And so when you're with other students, although you guys are probably talking about schoolwork, when you're with other students, it's, I assume, more relaxed, more casual. Yeah. And so this is something that I would encourage you, if you want to do it with a potential interviewer, that's another thing that I can go ahead and I can record it for you. So you call me and you say, or you send me an email, Barb, I want to do a mock interview. Go ahead and get dressed. Get dressed, tell me what the job is, and we can go through a mock situation so you can see how that goes. Sometimes maybe you need to feel what it's like to have somebody outside of a friend or a classmate to just kind of get that realness of it. It doesn't hurt to do that. So yeah, we have to prepare ourselves, and we have to roll with the punches, right? We have to be flexible with employers, not, oh man, they want to do an interview online or they want to do a video interview. I don't know an opportunity. Okay. Molly, what about you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I said, what brought you today? What were you looking at?
Well, I wanted, I've been trying to absorb information mode. Everyone's had a lot of changes, a lot of disruptions in their life recently. And there's a lot of changes in the job market that were happening anyway.
Yes.
I'm a graphic and web designer, so
oh wow, okay.
the economy has altered my career, which is part of what drove me to go back to school in the first place.
Okay.
The sense of permanence that I got maybe 10 years ago, like where has turned into contract work. And there's just a lot of short-term projects now instead of long-term projects. There's a lot more phone screenings, a lot more virtual interviews, sometimes even round 2, round 3 interviews before they hire somebody. I guess I came here just to listen and absorb information about the way that the career search is changing and the skills I need to develop to remain flexible through those changes.
Excellent. I think you brought up a really good point, is that what has happened is not only have they made these changes, but it's forcing us, the employers are forcing us to get comfortable with something so fast. And that's hard for us. You know, going into an interview can be overwhelming on a regular day, right? It can be overwhelming. I've had retail jobs where, you know, I got bent out of shape, like, oh my God, it's a bit there. And they're like, when do you want to start? I'm like, oh no, you're going to interview me. You know what I mean? I'm for this. And then you get to that really professional job and, you know, you have the same level of anxiety. And so that does not go away virtually, but what you do have is the benefit of, I think, being a little bit more prepared.
Sure.
So if I am moving my hands down below, maybe that employer can't see it. If I don't have on dress slacks at below, they can't see that. And so I get to control, I think, a little bit more of the conversation when I'm, and that's something that you want to think about. Think about the benefit of it, right? I can think about the availability of it, that I can do this interview anywhere. I don't have to travel. I don't have to worry about where I'm going to park, those kinds of things. And so we got to look at it as to, how do we get something out of this new way of doing? Also, is that, Molly, it has opened up job options. Okay. So there are people who are able to do things remotely that they were not able to do before. And that is because of where we are. It's helped employers, not just us, but it's helped employers to be more flexible as well. Like, okay, this can happen. You know, we can still be productive. We still, you know, we can still be, you know, the work can still get done and being virtual. Matter of fact, we might be able to get more, you know, so it's just.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell people I'm a web designer. Why do you make me come into the office? Just one day a week? Like, can I work from home? Like,
right?
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of people that are like, I have an essential job, I can't work from home. And for those people, we're ever so grateful. But if there's a job
absolutely
into that you can do remotely, by all means, look into it. There may be some employers. Has anybody ever applied for a job Handshake? Has anybody gone to Handshake?
Yeah, I've applied for a couple jobs through Handshake.
Okay, so there are positions that were posted. Employers post those positions all throughout the year. And so if they have posted a position earlier in the year, even right before we went into the remote learning, remote communication, they may not have updated it. And because they're probably scrambling to see what works for them. So you may see a job and you don't get a communication back, and that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a no-go. That doesn't mean they don't like you. You have to be creative. And so it's, can we do a virtual interview? You know, is this something that I can do virtually? Maybe you can't afford to bring me in person, but can we do something virtual? And extend those options. You know, I can be professional and have this conversation with you. That's what you want to show them, right? Because at the same time, is that not just being professional, they might want to record it, and they ask you, can we record it? They get to play it back. You know what I mean? So we need to make sure that that we're as prepared as we can be. We're putting our best foot forward. Okay, so I met with Brooke last week, and she recorded me, and she said, Barbara, you know we're going to record. I was like, absolutely, I do know. So after she did it, I was like, Barbara, why didn't you comb your hair a little better? Why didn't you put your makeup on? And I was like, it's okay. You know, I wasn't talking crazy, but it's something that I reflected on, and I said, I know better. You know, I know better. These are things that I still can be professional wherever I am. And that was what I wanted you guys to be able to take away from this. Take away being flexible, take away being professional, take away the things that you can control those. You know, this actually gives you a little more options for control being virtual. Okay, and you may be someplace where you know, normally you wouldn't be able to get to an interview, but now because you can be virtual, you have more flexibility as to your availability. You know, so this works or can work in your favor. Okay, so I don't want you to forget about anything. Again, my name is Barbara. You're more than welcome to log into Handshake, log into our career communities. I work with students who are in virtual, written, and performing arts, as well as entrepreneurship, as well as science and research. So if your career industry is any of those, it come see me, you know, we can talk about some things. If it's not, we have several other coaches that can also help you, you know, get to where you need to go. And okay, Barb, this changed a little bit. What's my new strategy? Where else can we go with this? You know, let's get to brainstorming. Those are the options that we have. Okay, so you're not alone. We're all doing virtual. Eventually we'll be back in person. Eventually things will start to, you know, feel a little normal again. But in the meantime, in between time, you have access to all of the things we have on our website. And you also have access to the coaches. You have access to the quick chat. When you go online, if nothing else you get from this, you can always go on to quick chat and ask for a reminder of anything that I said today. I don't know if you have a pen or not. If you want to just jot this down, and you can email me anytime you want to. I'm pretty responsive. My name is Barbara Harvey, and my email address is very, very simple. Start from the beginning. And that's Harvey, if it comes up, maybe. Okay. Sorry about that. So it's right here, harvey.669@osu.edu. So when we get done here today, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me and I can go over some things a little more individually. Okay, any other questions? Okay, and if you have not added your, thanks, if you have not added your email address in the chat box below, can you please do that? And hold on a second, I apologize, I've just been checking. I did have questions here. And I think you talked about that, Molly, right? Yeah. Did I miss anybody's questions? I apologize. I wasn't looking at the chat. I was focusing in person.
That's okay. When Victoria mentioned the phone interviews, I was just asking if there were any tips. I've done some phone interviews, and one thing that I found, when you're talking to somebody face to face, it's pretty easy to tell when it's your turn to talk and when it's your
exactly.
Right. But when you're on the phone with somebody, you know, like listening for the pause is one thing, but sometimes it's hard because like, might pause and then they start talking again immediately, and you like started to answer. So anyway, it's a little awkward. I was wondering if there's any tips to, because you don't want to talk over your interviewer, but you don't want to be so silent that they think like, oh, she's just dumb, or she freaks out, like, or something,
or she can't have a conversation.
Yeah.
Does anybody know a friend that's a talker?
I am.
Never shut up. Okay. And sometimes you just can't get a word in edgewise. You know what? Go ahead. You talk. You let me know when I can talk. Kind of a thing. It's a balance. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, his preschool's closed.
Oh, I got teenagers. I get it. When there is a balance, it's kind of like double dutch. You just kind of have to feel the conversation out. It's going to depend. You know, you're going to have some interviewers who do talk and are not going to give you that pause. You're going to have some that say like nothing, and you're trying to fill the gap. You're just going to have to fill it out. You know, you're right. The phone conversations can be challenging, I've done the phone screenings before, and the phone screenings that I have had, they usually have been pretty solid, pretty organized. This is going to be a 15-minute phone screening, so I know that the questions that they're asking are going to be deliberate, not just, making small talk. And so maybe that's something that you can ask, is how long is this phone screening going to be? Those type of things, to make sure that you have some type of heads up as to what kind of conversation we're having. And it's really trying to just be as professional as you can. There's no way to truly get in there and make sure that you're not over talking, or that you don't know if they're listening, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So, and that goes more to what we're talking about virtual. It's actually, they say, well, can we do a phone screening? You say, well, actually, are you available for a virtual one? Because at least I have that type of feedback, right? I know, are you trying to talk to me? Yeah. So that was a really good question. Yeah.
And if I can actually butt in for a sec,
Yeah, sure.
The best thing that I've found for like making sure that like there's a back and forth between the talking with phone interviews is like, try not to make it one of those answers where you go, and yeah.
Okay.
Where you like kind of just like, it like rattles on and you just kind of finish your sentence. Like, as long as like your last sentence is solid and you just stop talking, they will start to fill the gap, because they will feel what you were feeling and they'll have to fill it instead. So that's what I found has been really useful, to make sure that like, when I'm done talking, and like let them have their turn.
I really like that, Megan. And that has to do with, to me, that's a professional conversation, right? I'm going to be intentional about my responses, so that we have an even exchange when we're talking. I like that. I'm going to take heed to your advice. Thank you. Any other questions? Comments, concerns? No? Well, I want to thank everybody that came today. I wish you the best on your job search, interviews, your internships, whatever you have coming up next. I wish you the best. Also, you should probably be getting an email about the events that we're having later today, on Thursday, and then on Friday. You can also go to Handshake and look at the events that we're having and see if there's anything else that you'd like to know more about. There are some other events where there's going to be employers there, so it'll be a more intimate conversation. And so hopefully after today, you're like, okay, let me be mindful of this. Let me go speak with one of the employers that's going to be here. So make a little room for that, a little effort for that. Some of them go into after 5 o'clock, and some of them are 2, 3. So just check those out and take advantage of those.
Are you going to email us the PowerPoint?
It will be, I'm not sure if it's going to be emailed. I think it's going to be posted, but Kristen, I will email you just to make sure, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I really appreciate everybody being here today. And again, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.